What's going on YouTube? What's going on Facebook? I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. I have a lot to talk about today. I really do. My intro will be brief. I want to play this clip from The View because I think it's hilarious to start. We're going to play that in a few seconds. Then I want to talk about Ukraine nuclear power plant story. A lot of fear mongering from Zelenskyy, the Ukrainian foreign minister, telling people, this thing might blow. They hit a nuclear site. I mean, this is some scary stuff. But I want to let you guys know it's not just me. It's not just like a right wing thing or whatever what they want to call it. Even the State Department of the US government is telling embassies not to share this information. So this is really critical. It's not like just my perspective, like, oh my God, Anomaly's so crazy. He's always got to be a contrarian. No, this is official CNN stuff, State Department. They're like, be careful with sharing that stuff because even they're admitting that this story seems to not be true. Another fake story, another fear mongering, trying to get people more into war. On that note, you have Hannity apparently, calling for the assassination of Putin. Lindsey Graham is a psychopath. We're going to play some clips of them as well, or at least with Lindsey Graham. So long story, a lot of stuff to do, but we got to get to this because at this point, real quick, folks, the misinformation is coming so quickly that it's hard to even debunk. I've gone through like 6 stories where it's like, listen, I think I'm just going to say this real quick, then I'm going to play this clip for people coming in. And then I'll explain how I got my YouTube channel back because it was suspended for a week, but I got it back. I think Ukraine has the right to defend itself. I think Ukraine has the right to its national sovereignty. I really do. I think if Ukraine wants to, be its own country, I'm all for that. I think Russia has the right to be ticked off at NATO and Ukraine. And I think I have the right to be honest about it. I think I have the right to say, listen, I see your side. I see your side. I see my side. I see NATO's side. And I'm not just going head deep into the propaganda in either direction. I'm going to question myself. And if you lie to me once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I don't have to believe you. That's just not how the world works. It's like I can ask questions about Putin if I want. I don't live in Russia. If I question Putin, luckily I don't live there, so I don't have to deal with the consequences of questioning, Putin. I'm sure it's not as easy to do that in Russia. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm sorry. I don't live in Ukraine, so I don't have this, national bond to that country. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I have a friend from Ukraine. He's got the flag in his profile. This is my perspective. American citizen, somebody that, sees both sides of the equation. Let's get into the story. But first, let's listen to some of the most insufferable people talk about why they think the Constitution is trash. Yep, let's hear it.
Some will say, okay, so are you arguing for throwing out the Constitution? Should the Constitution be thrown out? What do we do? Is it a living document? Is it a sacred document?
It's certainly not sacred, all right? Constitution is kind of trash. Now, let's just talk as adults first.
What did you say? It's what?
It's kind of trash.
Trash.
It was written by slavers and colonists and white people who were willing to make deals with slavers and colonists. They didn't ask anybody who looked like me what they thought about the Constitution.
All right, so I think he should win an award, maybe an Emmy or something. Maybe, I don't know who that guy is. He should win the award for being more insufferable than 4 of the most insufferable people on television. The View, as I like to call it, 4 harpies screaming at each other. The fact that he could go on such a disgusting platform and somehow be more annoying than all of them, give that guy an Emmy. Yeah, the Constitution's so bad, bro. Let's just get rid of the freedom of speech, dude. I mean, what's the point? Let's just go to jail for hate speech, Why don't we just live in an authoritarian country? We'll cry about Putin and China, and then we'll just become a worse version of Russia and China. Yeah, dude. Cool story, bro. My gosh. That right there, before I start this extremely intricate live stream, to me, that clip is like a perfect metaphor for America. You have, I don't know who that first woman was, Anna Navarro, maybe. I'm not sure if that was her. Don't quote me on it. She's got a Ukraine flag on her shirt. It's like an American citizen's got a Ukraine flag, whatever. Maybe that was Whoopi Goldberg. I don't want to spread misinformation, but maybe that was Whoopi Goldberg in disguise because, she ticked off Jewish executives and now, maybe she had to come back as a Hispanic woman just to, support Ukraine to get their favor back or something at The View. They're like, Whoopi, don't say that. Go in timeout. And she comes back like, dressed up as a Hispanic woman with the Ukraine shirt. She's like, hey, I'm back. I'm just kidding. It's not Whoopi Goldberg. I just thought that would be funny. In that guy's world, what I just said was probably hate speech. He's like, the Constitution sucks. It's like, all right, bro, whatever. But that's a perfect metaphor for America. You have a woman with a Ukraine flag on her shirt. You have a guy talking about how bad the Constitution is. It's like, can we focus on our country? Because if these people take over, I'm probably going to be in a gulag within 10 years. But anyway, before I start this really big story about the nuclear lie from Ukraine's government, pretty much at this point, it seems that way. I just want to explain very quickly how I got my YouTube. Oh, and I want to play the clip with Lindsey Graham and John McCain. But I got my YouTube channel back. So they took it away. They didn't appeal my strike. They said I was suspended for a week, and they said there's nothing I could do about it. I personally believe, I don't know why they give it back, but I think there's something called, I know this, but newsbusters.org. Newsbusters.org is like this big watchdog organization that goes after censorship. And apparently they wrote this nice article about me saying YouTube's a hypocrite. They contacted YouTube. I don't even know how to contact YouTube. They contacted YouTube and said, hey, what's the deal with this? And then mysteriously my account comes back on. So I don't think I did it by myself. I think it was hundreds of people, telling YouTube what phonies they were, and newsbusters.org for, really putting the pressure on them, like legally, peacefully, but being like, what the hell are you doing? So thank you to newsbusters.org. Thank you to the hundreds, if not thousands of people who reached out to YouTube and told them what phony balonies they were. I think that's the only reason I got my YouTube channel unsuspended, because it was unappealable. They said it was never going away. So I just want to say thank you to Newsbusters. Thank you to everybody who reached out to them. Sometimes we win when we Karen out. They're like, oh, we don't need more Karens. We need more Karens. I'm a Karen. I put on my white woman wig and I need to speak to the manager. I am the manager. No, the manager. I want to know your man. I am the man. I want to speak to the CEO. I want to speak to the CEO's dad. I want to speak to the CEO's grandfather. I want to speak to his grandfather. I want to speak to your whole family. I want to go to, Cheesecake Factory and talk about this. That's where I go when they try to. I don't shut up. I'm like, I woke up. I said, hey, good morning, YouTube. Go F yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you don't want to Karen me, okay? I got that blood in me. But anyway, here's Lindsey Graham. Last night, apparently, he threatened to. He's like, we need to assassinate Putin. Not in those direct words, but roughly. Apparently, Sean Hannity, the big phony, Sean Hannity, Mr. Republic, I'm on your side, folks. I'm just like you. I'm a conservative until it's set time to send your kids to another war and get America in World War III. Then I'm a phony neocon snake, just like I always was. He's getting so bad that even the Washington Post said Sean Hannity suggesting assassinating Putin. Experts say that's illegal and a bad strategy. I mean, imagine being so terrible that even the most terrible warmongers in the world are like, yeah, that's a little too far. Like, we certainly want to regime change Putin, but we're not going to say that because it has consequences on a global scale. Hannity and McCain are going, I'm sorry, Hannity and I meant Lindsey Graham are going insane. And on that note, let's look at two war hawks here in Ukraine in 2016. This video has been surfacing of them. I mean, it sounds like they wanted to start a war here. Let's listen.
Your fight is our fight. 2017 will be the year of offense.
2017 will be the year of offense.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Час вже щоб вони заплатили важчу ціну.
I believe you will win. I am convinced you will win, and we will do everything we can to provide you with what you need to win.
Я вірю в те, що ви виграєте, переможете. Я переконаний в тому, що ви переможете, і ми вам допоможемо всіма можливими засобами.
All right. Two of my favorites. If you don't trust Lindsey Graham and John McCain, who do you trust, right? All right. Let me move that to the side. And just to wrap up that story and get to the main nuclear story that's very, very important, I want to read a tweet real quick. It's by a guy named, I think his name is Martyr Made. I think he hosts a podcast with Jocko Willink. But this was his take on that video I shared. He said, he didn't respond to me, but he responded to that video on Twitter. He said, once Trump was elected, the purpose of Russiagate was to make it impossible for him to de-escalate with Russia to such a point that the regime couldn't pick it back up after they fortified the 2020 election. I think the first part of that's a really good point. When you look at the Russia narrative, it's like right out the gate, Trump works with Russia. What did that do? Did they prove that Trump colluded with Russia in this extreme way that they could kick him out of office? No, that didn't happen. But what it did do was put a wedge between him and Putin to be like, you know, don't get along with them. They had the war plans already in place rather. I think that is pretty true, or a pretty good point in my opinion. But anyway, enough of my opinion. Some people want to know what's going on with this nuclear story. So let me start at the beginning, because this is complex, but it is very, very important for people to understand. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, his name is, I don't know how to pronounce this, Dmytro Kuleba. He tweeted this in English, right? He tweeted, Russian army is firing from all sides of Zaporizhzhia NPP, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Fire has already broke out. If it blows up, it will be 10 times larger than Chernobyl. Russians must immediately cease the fire, allowing firefighters to establish a security zone. So a lot of these fake stories like Snake Island, do you remember that? Oh my God, they're all dead. They got murdered at Snake Island. They're heroes. They told Russians to go F themselves. That was a totally fake story. There's a reason that these fake stories keep being widespread around social media. It's because they're not coming from an anonymous source like the Washington Post and CNN, an anonymous source from an unspecified, it's not that. It's literally Zelenskyy and the foreign minister and all these people in Ukraine are literally creating these fake stories that are really designed, in my opinion, to emotionally get people invested in this story and people for them to come to their defense. And I want to say this real quick before I get into it. NATO is rejecting Ukraine's demand for no-fly zone. So Kinzinger wants a no-fly zone. A lot of these war hawks wants a no-fly zone. NATO is not doing it. Zelenskyy is telling us that we need to do a no-fly zone, and even NATO is way more hawkish than I am with more. NATO is NATO. I don't need to explain to you what it is. Even they're rejecting Ukraine's call for no-fly zone. So this President Zelenskyy is like trying to guilt us into a war that we don't want to get into, and it's weird to me that they're trying to like crowdfund this war. For instance, you got Ukraine's government asking for Bitcoins. Allegedly, I read a tweet that they're selling NFTs to fund this war. They're not sending American troops, which I like, and they're not sending NATO troops, which I think is fair. But they're trying to like crowdfund it. It's like, hey, if you want to go fight in Ukraine, we'll give you a gun and come here. It's like the GoFundMe of wars. Like, it's not a serious enough war that we're going to fight Russia, but it is a serious enough war that people can just go fly over there. Is that not odd to anybody? Whether you support Ukraine, you're skeptical, you love Ukraine, you're from Ukraine. Can I not think that that's a little weird? Like, okay, this is a serious war. Okay, are we sending NATO? No. Are we doing no-fly zone? No. Are we sending American troops? No. We're crowdfunding like essentially like a GoFundMe-esque style where it's like, yeah, whoever wants to go can go and give us Bitcoins. It's like, what the heck is going on here? But anyway, excuse me. I got to get that Omicron out of my chest, folks. COVID, I'm not saying it's over because then I'll get fact-checked and they'll ruin my whole life again. But I'm not saying it's over. But, sometimes they say you got that that Omarion stuck in your lungs. I'm trying to get it out real quick. Hold on. I want to cough so hard that Eric Adam drops all the mandates. I'm going to cough so hard that Kyrie Irving's going to be allowed to play home games. I'm going to cough so hard that Novak Djokovic is allowed to play in Australia. You get it. Jokes aside, the foreign minister of Ukraine said that there was a fire breaking out at the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Okay, so now let's get to this story. Someone named Brian Tyler Cohen, which ironically, the name of his show is apparently No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. No lies here, folks. Fact check me. He said a new nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine has caught on fire after being repeatedly bombed by Russian forces per Reuters. It is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Firefighters are unable to get the fire because Russian troops continue to shoot. Fire has already broke out. If it blows up, it will be 10 times larger than Chernobyl. Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs just announced more elevated radiation levels are being detected around nuclear power plant, according to AP. Ukraine's prime minister is calling on NATO to close the skies over nuclear power plants. It's a question of the security of the whole world. So, and then if you go forward, apparently Zelenskyy said this could be the end of everybody, the end for Europe, the evacuation of Europe. So I want to just let you know what's going on. You have Ukraine using this nuclear plant on fire to try to freak out NATO and freak out the West to say, dude, the whole world's going to blow up if you don't do a no-fly zone. You need to close the skies because they're going to blow up everything. So you have AP, Reuters, No Lies with Brian Tyler Cohen, reporting all this stuff, saying it's being bombed, it's being shot. We can't put out the fire because they won't stop shooting it. Elevated radiation levels. These are all very serious claims. And then I'm going to read an Associated Press probably later that day. It says, but now experts saw nothing to indicate an impending disaster. The International Atomic Energy Agency said that the fire had not affected essential equipment and that Ukraine's nuclear regulator reported no change in radiation levels. The American Nuclear Society concurred, saying that the latest radiation levels remained within natural background levels. So multiple narratives that they were pushing were debunked even by AP, allegedly, apparently after promoting it or quote. I mean, it's hard if you're the AP or Reuters, Ukraine says something, you like believe them. You're like, oh, they must be telling the truth. And they just keep lying. It's insane. People keep trying to say that Zelenskyy is like the new Fauci. I'm like, listen, I got to hand it to Fauci. He's a smooth character. It took me like a couple of weeks to realize that I didn't like him. I was like, Zelenskyy out the gate is just like, he's literally an actor who pretty much just wrote himself in. I'm the president now, and then won the election. But anyway, it's like the dude, everything he says, like, I'm getting assassinated 3 times. Maybe that's true, but you lied about Snake Island. You're crying, saying like Europe's going to blow up. We need no-fly zones if it doesn't blow up. Apparently, this story is so bad and fake that even CNN and the State Department of America are telling people not to share it. This is Natasha Bertrand, CNN reporter covering the White House. She tweeted today, just recently, the State Department of America sent an urgent message to all U.S. embassies in Europe telling them not to retweet the below tweet from the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. Per Kylie Atwood, if you have retweeted it, untweet it ASAP, said the message reviewed by CNN. And they're responding to a U.S. Embassy tweet that said it's a war crime to attack a nuclear power plant. Putin's shelling of Europe's largest nuclear plant takes his reign of terror one step further. So this lie apparently is so bad that the U.S. State Department, not me, not Anomaly, oh, he's so crazy, oh, he thinks Putin's, I'm just honest. I'm not out here putting flags in my profile picture. I'm not putting a Russian flag. I'm not putting a Ukrainian flag. If there's going to be any flag in my profile picture, it's going to be a dreamrare.com flag. Go get yourself a pink hat, dreamrare.com, or an American flag. I'm not putting a foreign country's flag in my profile picture. But in general, the State Department is telling people, don't share this story. Don't share the U.S. Embassy. Where's the U.S. Embassy getting this story? From Zelenskyy, from the foreign minister. How many times are these people going to try to lie us into war? And this is not some innocent, like, oh my God, it's so. They're doing it with purpose. They're saying, oh my gosh, nuclear explosion, give us a no-fly zone. And even the State Department of America saying, that's not true. We're not giving you a no-fly zone. This is not my opinion. NATO's rejecting their no-fly zone. This is crazy stuff, folks. So here's my takeaway from all of this. First of all, when you listen to the media, it's like they're destroying Russia as much as they can with sanctions. They're kicking them off of like every social media platform. They're banning Sputnik. They're banning, RT from everything. Eventually, just like with COVID, that same formula that they use this communist Chinese style system to just ban something out of existence. They did it with Trump. They did it with people questioning Big Pharma. They did it with people questioning lockdowns. They did it with people questioning lab leak theories. COVID was the normalization of this, and now they're doing it to Russia, and eventually they'll do it to India, and then they're going to do it domestically. They already have done it to people. So this formula of like, ban these people from existence, okay. So I think this is my point. The West is doing everything they can. Uber, you open an app, you got the same people that push the agenda of Big Pharma, the same people that push the lockdowns, the same people that help the COVID authoritarian psychopaths destroy America and strip our freedom and turn us from a once prosperous country with freedom into a communist Chinese style lockdown system. These same corporations that fly the LGBT flag every year and BLM flags and we love black people, we love gay people. Okay, now lock down and get your jab. It's like, dang, okay, that escalated real quick. I thought it was Pride Month. I guess it's get your booster shot month now with all these corporations. But anyway, these same corporations are now putting Ukraine, raising money, etc. And this is the West's, way of trying to crack down on Russia. That's really all they have. All the corporations, the sanctions, destroying the ruble. But here's the interesting part that I find. As somebody that doesn't, I'm not like a shill for one side or the other. I'm just trying to analyze what's going on. I think Russia clearly is stronger than the media wants to act like they are. Like, oh, we're crushing Russia. But I mean, if you won't even do a no-fly zone, I don't want them to. I don't want to start a war. I don't want a no-fly zone. I don't think it's a great idea. But I mean, you are like seizing things from Russian billionaires. You're also like, I mean, what else are they doing? Like cutting off flights to America, I think, from Russia. I mean, they're going pretty far. But it's very telling that they're also trying to scale it back. So on one hand, they're like, we're so tough, we're winning this war, Putin's going to bow down. On another hand, they're like, we don't want to do a no-fly zone. Don't share that misinformation from Ukraine. If you work at the State Department, please do not retweet this. Please. I mean, that sounds pretty desperate to me. CNN, some of the biggest war hawks and phony neoliberals on the planet, they're even telling people to slow it down. You have Washington Post, Democracy Dies in Darkness, correcting Sean Hannity, saying even he's going too far with his Russian aggression. So something tells me that there's a lot of bark from the West. And listen, I love the West. I live here. If there's a war, I want to win. I'm not saying I'm trying to like hurt people, but like it's not like I'm wishing for my own destruction. I'm not a liberal. I'm not like, should I even exist? Should our country even exist? Is our Constitution bad? Should we just get rid of it and sit in a circle and watch, the new episode of SpongeBob where he comes out of the closet? It's like, yeah, I want to win a war. If I don't want to lose. I'm not trying to like die and have my country be destroyed. But at the same time, I don't think the West is as strong as they're saying they are, because all this weakness, it's like we're winning, but don't share that. We're winning, but don't say that. We're winning, but we're not going to do a no-fly zone, even though Ukraine is begging us for us. They're not just begging us for it; they're literally lying to us, trying to get us to do a no-fly zone, and NATO won't even do it. I'm not trying to be like overly prideful, because the Lord will, strike me down. But I do kind of in a weird way like to be right. I'm not like, ha ha ha, I'm so smart, everybody's so dumb. I mean, sometimes I say that by mistake, and then people are like, I'm not dumb. I'm like, I'm not talking about everyone. I just talk too much and I say funny things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could have said that better. But anyway, it is hilarious where it's like a week ago, I'm pointing out all this misinformation. Zelenskyy lies more than Fauci. Like everything out of his mouth is like this dramatic thing. He's like, oh my God, everybody's dying around me. And then it's like, that story's completely fake. It's like the dude is literally an actor who created a production company, who made a show where he was the president of Ukraine. He wrote himself in as the star. It was his production company. He brainwashed everybody for 3 years into thinking he's just like them, just a normal teacher in Ukraine, wins the election with over 70% of the vote. I mean, this is like the biggest psychological operation in modern history. Make yourself the president on TV for 3 years and then just become the president. I mean, it's genius. But at the same time, it's like the dude is like a drama queen. And I'm not saying it's not scary, but, he's filled with like, don't tell me what to do. Just give me weapons and give me, everyone's like, oh my God, he's so brave. He's such a hero. All he does is just have little one-liners, but literally he's already lied. Like, I don't know. I can't even count how many times. And these aren't these little innocent lies. It's like huge stories. Like he's literally saying, I'm going to quote from Associated Press what he said over this thing that really doesn't even seem like it was true. He said, I quote from Associated Press, it says, in an emotional speech in the middle of the night, Zelenskyy said he feared an explosion that would be the end for everyone, the end for Europe, the evacuation for Europe, in which the International Atomic Agency said that the fire didn't affect essential equipment and that their nuclear regulated had reported no change in radiation levels, while left-wing reporters are saying more elevated radiation levels are being detected. I mean, they're just like, war, we're all gonna die. And like, it's like everything is this big drama queen moment where like the whole world's gonna end. Oh my gosh, we need a no-fly zone. Help us, NATO. And it makes me feel so good, not because I want him to suffer. I want Zelenskyy to, honestly, I think he should probably retire from politics and just stick to comedy and acting. He's good at that. But in general, I don't want anything bad to happen to Ukraine. I think they deserve to, defend their country. But here's the point. It's like I say what I'm saying a week ago. I'm calling out his misinformation. Everyone's saying, you shouldn't do that. You're this, you're that. They're all lying about me. Everybody can't handle it. And now you literally have CNN, the State Department. I mean, this guy is lying so hard that even like CNN's like, eesh, like we lie, but like you got to slow down. We're usually like at a pace of, the mainstream media and a lot of these Democrat politicians, they usually like stick to one lie for like a month or something. It's like kids in cages, but we're not going to explain why, or those pictures are from the Obama administration, raised $20 million off a fake picture. Like, they're like, that's kind of how we lie. We pick a lie, we stick to the lie, we push the lie, we brainwash people. They don't lie like 7 times in like 5 minutes. It's like, so I think even it's hilarious to me that I was reporting on this a week ago, a lot of this stuff. And now even the State Department of America is like, sheesh, bro, you gotta like, you gotta stop. And even NATO, it's like they're like leaving Ukraine hanging. They're like, yeah, we'll like crowdfund for you. We'll tell Uber to, I'm not saying NATO specifically told her, but it's like Uber is gonna put out a notification for you, but like we're not gonna give you a no-fly zone. We're not really sending troops or anything. And yeah, good luck, dude. Raise some Bitcoin, sell some NFTs, and maybe you could get some like degenerate people from America who want to go fight your war. But besides that, we're not really going to help you. So it's just pretty funny. I'm like, dang, they're screwing up so bad that even our country won't help us. So just to wrap it up real quick, I want to say all of this. I want to say Ukraine, I believe as a country, I think they have the right to defend themselves. I'm not someone who wants them to get conquered or thinks that they shouldn't be able to defend themselves. It's your country. You've had it for, I don't know, a couple decades now, at least. Do what you got to do. It's not my business. Like that's your country. You got a flag. You got some people there. You don't want to be Russia. That's on you. I'm not sending you Bitcoin. I'm not flying over there with an AK. So, liberals want me to have guns just in a foreign country or something. It's not my thing. As far as Russia, I think, they're not our ally on a world scale, but I do think that, this idea that they're this huge aggressor, in some hands, yeah, Putin is not innocent. They've been doing stuff to America for decades, probably 100 years. However, in this situation, I think NATO and America, imagine for a second what Lindsey Graham was talking about and John McCain were talking about, two extremely untrustworthy people. Imagine if China or Russia was funding weapons to Mexico and flying to Mexico and telling Mexicans, we're gonna start the war. We're gonna go on the attack. Like this is crazy. You think America would put up with that? China or Russia funding weapons to Mexicans and saying, hey, let's do it. Are you kidding me? We would have started a war 5 years ago. I mean, I'm not saying Putin's a good guy, but it's like, at a certain point, what do you expect him to do when you're funding weapons to his neighbor and you've already invaded Libya, you've invaded Syria, you've invaded Iraq? I mean, Russia's no innocent victim or anything. I'm just saying it's like this idea that we're bombing Somalia right now. Israel's bombing Syria all the time. We've invaded like 7 countries under Obama. Like we are not this like, oh my God. And then you got, Sean Hannity pretending like he's your best friend for 4 years. And then he like reverts into the Tasmanian devil, just like slobbering over a war that he doesn't even, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I think Ukraine has the right to defend itself. I think Russia has a reason to be upset. I definitely, don't hate Ukraine or Ukrainians or Russia or Russians. However, I think Zelenskyy and the government of Ukraine seems to be almost worse than Democrats. I mean, to me, it's like that's the type of people running that country. These are not like these heroes. Oh my goodness, he's Iron Man. It's like, dude, they lie more than Anthony Fauci. To Anthony Fauci's credit, he is a smooth character, in my opinion. He always knows how to finesse it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's always like he's a smooth liar. If I were to rate Anthony Fauci as a liar, I would say like 9.9 out of 10. He could be the president of the Democrats. So, it's like this dude if Joe Biden could be president, Fauci could be president. But anyway, he's a good liar. I don't like him. I don't believe what he says. I think he's a sneaky snake. But I give Anthony Fauci credit on the lying scale. He's good at it. Zelenskyy is garbage at it. It's just he's young and there's so many memes about him. Like it's like the dude lies way more than Anthony Fauci. Like everything it's like a big drama show. And then you get to like what he says and what really happened, and it doesn't relate at all. It's like, dude, the Snake Island story was total nonsense. How do you mess up that bad? It's like all my soldiers are dead. Oh my God, we're flying. Oh my gosh, the nuclear thing's blowing up. Please save us. Give us a no-fly zone. And NATO, this is the funniest part. He's saying all this stuff, and NATO's like, no, we're not giving it to you. And now he's trying to talk trash on NATO. He's like, oh, you guys aren't strong enough. He's saying stuff along the lines of that. Not specifically that, but he's like, he's trying to poke at NATO and America and be like, oh, you're not really helping us. It's like, dude, I can't stand this guy. I think Zelensky's a total fraud. He's an embarrassment. And he's such an embarrassment that even CNN and the State Department are like, yeah, like even we have to distance ourselves from you now because like we got your back still, but it's like, bro, you got to stop with these stories. He says something fake, or the foreign minister says something fake from Ukraine. AP reports it. Reuters reports it. When it comes to the Snake Island story, Fox News, CNN, everybody reported it. It was on everybody's Instagram page, left wing, right wing. It goes viral. 3 days later, it's a fake story because we got it from a source that's lying to us. It's like listening to Joe Biden in a foreign country say, and then we report on it. Well, it must be true because the president of America said it. It's like, no, he's a liar. Just like Zelenskyy, he's a liar. The dude is a total phony. And he's such a bad phony that he's really trying to escalate a war. I don't want Putin to escalate a war, and I don't want Zelensky's little actor comedian behind to run around saying, oh my God, it's exploding. Give me your planes. Give me a no-fly zone. And America and NATO is like, no, like, we're not giving you that. We're going to give you a few NFTs. Here's a non-fungible token. Maybe we'll give you a few Bitcoins. We'll give you a few, propaganda SNL skits or something. And then, that's pretty much it. And then, I don't know, we can ship a few people who want to fight a war. Like, who wants to fight a war in Ukraine? They're crowdfunding this war, essentially. Isn't that weird? Even if you're like, anomaly, you're wrong. I love Ukraine. They're the best. They should be able to lie and say whatever they want. They're like, it's like a give, send, go version. Like, if we can raise 1,000 troops in America, we'll send them over and give them an AK-47. Like, what kind of a war is like a crowdfunded war? I don't know. It's very strange. That's my thought. I'm glad that the media and State Department is finally like acknowledging what I've been acknowledging. I'm like, dude, this guy, it's like every time he talks, it's this like crazy. I'm going to just, for fun, I'm just going to Google his latest speech or YouTube it. And then I'm going to play it. And then I'm going to just listen to what he said. This is totally in the dark. Okay. So I'm going to search Zelensky's speech and let's see if he tells the truth in it. I hope he does. Because, okay, let's see. Zelenskyy challenges Putin to sit down for a talk. Where I'm trying to find a new one. Let's see. Has he talked? Okay, this is from 23 hours ago. Let's see. All right, I'm going to play it real quick. He says, if we don't exist anymore, God forbids, remember our meeting. Next will be Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Moldova, Georgia, Poland. First of all, I'm already going to call BS on it. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to his opinion, but it's like, I don't think Russia is going to take over all of Europe. I mean, they could. It's definitely like a threat, but he's like, it's going to be everyone. Everybody, he's coming for you next. Please give us weapons. He said, then they will be walking until the Berlin Wall. We want to close the airspace because our children are being deliberately killed. Missiles, bombs, Icansers, jets, bombers are flying from the territory of Belarus and Russia. I mean, I've only listened for 30 seconds. He's already calling for a no-fly zone. Listen, this is not my opinion. It's not like, anomaly. NATO doesn't want to give this guy a no-fly zone. America doesn't want to give this guy a no-fly zone. The State Department's telling people not to share the misinformation coming from their government. And he's just like, everybody's going to be next. Please give us a no-fly zone. And even our government's like, dude, stop already. Just put out memes. Let's see what else he says. How many people have to be exploded? How many arms, legs, heads have to be blown apart to get through to you and make you close it? Do you see what he's doing here? This is crazy to me because it's like he's so desperate to get this no-fly zone. And I'm like laughing because NATO doesn't even want to do it. Listen, everybody's like, NATO's perfect. It's like you must be pretty garbage if even NATO doesn't even want to help you. NATO doesn't want Russia to succeed. And they're not even helping you. It's like arms, legs, blown, children, please, no fly zone, please. And they're like, no, So what do you think? Should NATO give this guy a no fly zone or am I wrong? I don't know. It's just like, he's like, I'm going to keep reading. Let's see. How many do you need? Tell me and I will go on and count myself in and we will wait until this moment. We are not attacking Russia and we are not going to attack it. Dude, this guy seems like desperate, bro. He must be really suffering because he's like, help me. Bro, I want to help you. I don't believe anything you say. You lied about the Snake Island story. You literally didn't kind of lie about it. You like completely lied about it. You said they were all dead and they all died and they said, go F yourself and they didn't surrender. And either they're alive and they surrendered or they didn't surrender. But I mean, they're all alive. Okay, that was like a huge lie. You got the entire story wrong. You're saying that Europe's going to blow up over a nuclear reactor plant that now our own State Department's saying don't share that story because it's not true. And it's going to escalate man. Zelenskyy looking very, very weak. Even the West looking somewhat weak, being like, we're crushing, but don't talk about that. Wild stuff. Let's listen a little more. What guarantees do they have? He says, are we in NATO? No. Do we have nuclear weapons? No. He's like, looks so sad. What do I have to say? What should I give to someone? What do you want from us? Go away from our land. You don't want to leave now? Sit down with me at a negotiation table. I'm available. Sit with me, but not at 30 meters. That's funny. Like you welcome Macron and Schultz and others. I'm your neighbor. You don't need to keep me at a 30-meter distance. I don't bite. I'm a normal man. Sit down with me. Let's talk. What are you afraid of? So he's begging for a negotiation. He also said today that he had an assassination attempt on himself 3 times. I want to believe that. I really do. But he's such a drama queen liar that I don't, unfortunately. I want to see proof. But, it's sad. It sucks that I can't believe this guy. But let me know what you think is going to happen. I really think that eventually they're going to come to an agreement. I think it's interesting because in the world of corruption, in the world of liars, like when you have people like, and then I'm going to get to questions and read the super chats and stuff, or try to, when you have people like John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Sean Hannity, Washington Post, CNN, Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar was even there for some reason in Ukraine in 2006. Like when you have all these left-wing and right-wing total frauds in government, and then you have a total fraud like Zelenskyy and they're making deals, and then you have NATO and Russia, and saying like Zelenskyy thinks he's so in with these people. I'm sure he did so many deals with some of the sneakiest people in America, and there's no loyalty in sneakery. That's just the moral of the story. It's like he seems like he's panicking. He probably did so much BS to appease like American politicians and like world elites in NATO, from 2014 to now, or rather 2000, I think he got in 2019, maybe. I'm not really, I can't remember. Yeah, I think 2019. But, it's like, and now he's like, where's all my friends? They're not your friends, bro. Joe Biden's not your friend. America's not your friend. NATO's not your friend. Nobody really cares that much about you. They probably just used this total puppet. They used him. They did what they could. They miscalculated. Now he's suffering. And nobody wants to help this guy. I find it actually wild. It's like NATO doesn't want to help him. America barely wants to help him. He wants more help. They're saying no. He wants a no-fly zone. They're saying no. There's no loyalty when you're not doing things for a righteous reason. So I don't know if anybody's doing anything for a righteous reason on the world stage, but this is like Democratic Party. You do everything for the party like Chris Cuomo. One scandal, you're gone. You do everything like Andrew Cuomo, or, one scandal, you're gone. They'll throw you to the curb as soon as they move on to the next thing. It's like, did we get what we needed out of Zelenskyy? We got it. Okay, whatever. We'll just let him figure it out himself. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm selling NFTs. I'm trying my best. It's like, yeah, you're going to need more than a non-fungible token to beat Putin, I think. But, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to read some comments and super chats. And I want to say really quick, a few exciting things. I'm going to start with my podcast is out now. It's called Dream Rare Podcast. So my first episode is actually the episode where I listen to Zelenskyy and Putin's speeches. And what I'm going to do for my podcast, if you guys are interested, I'm going to be interviewing dozens and hundreds of people, hopefully over the course of time. So I'm going to go every other, because I understand some people just want to hear me talk about politics and news analysis. Other people want to hear me have conversations and interview interesting people. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick my favorite live stream of the week, put it as a podcast, and then I'm going to do an interview with somebody that I like and talk about stuff, put it at my podcast. It's already on Spotify. If you search Dream Rare Podcast, it's there. It's going to be on Apple, Google, Pandora. I don't know where people listen to podcasts. It's going to be everywhere. So Dream Rare Podcast available now. I'm going to have interviews, conversations, try to really get into the podcast sphere. That's exciting. Number 2 thing that's exciting is this might be my last live stream in this format. It's been fun. I'm not selling out or anything, but right now, just to be honest, I have a microphone here and the microphone's going into YouTube, and I have a webcam, just like a iMac webcam. It's okay. I mean, it looks good today, but sometimes it doesn't. And I'm using my cell phone without a microphone on Facebook. What I think I'm going to do is integrate it all, use a microphone. I have like a pretty, not super expensive, but the best one I could find, webcam, the best one on the market that I could find. I have a webcam. I'm going to set it up. And what I'm going to try to do is use a platform streaming service that looks really sleek. So instead of like this, it's going to look sick. I'm going to be able to play the videos on the screen as opposed to like off the screen with my laptop kind of bootleg. So that's the goal for my next live stream. I think this might be my last one this way. So the audio is going to be better on Facebook. The video quality is going to be better on Facebook and YouTube, and the experience should be a lot better. So someone said go live on Rumble. If I can do it through this live streaming service, I'm going to try to. So I would like to do all that. So that's going to happen. So podcast, higher quality interviews, higher quality video content, more content. I'm going to bang out more stuff this month. Dream Rare podcast. Also, pink hats are available right now at dreamrare.com. They're a limited edition. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get pink hats for the rest of the year. I might, but everything is in tough supply. We had black God Bless hats. People wanted the black ones. They sold out in like 2 minutes. There were only 7. We literally could only find 7. So now we have like probably, I don't know, less than 50. I don't even know how many pink hats we have, but we have pink hats. Dreamrare.com. Check that out. And then we also have, let me see real quick, just 2 shirts. I'm going to show y'all here and here. It's a Freedom Over Tyranny shirt. We have a Dream Rare shirt, just a basic design if you like something chiller. So that's what we got on the store. Just letting you know, if you want a pink hat, then unfortunately, they'll probably be gone in a few days, and I don't know when I'll be able to get another shipment. But that's all pre-sale. They're being stitched as we speak. They're almost done, and then I'm going to get them to my guy, ship them out. Should be quick. Thank y'all for watching. All right, let me read some chats on Facebook. Top star senders. Linda, thank you. Amanda, thank you. Wendy, thank you. Jared, thank you. Kaylee, thank you. Leander, thank you. Oxy, thank you. Betty, thank you. Anna, thank you. Hopefully on my video thing that I'm using, I hope that it makes super chats and everything easy. I have a bunch of stuff I do, but I always try to do my videos. Like, I don't like doing other work. I mean, I should, but you know, it's like setting up my webcam, figuring out how to use a whole video. It takes time and it's annoying to me, but I'm going to figure it out this way. Once I figure it out, everything will be smooth and we'll transition to that. Let's see. Someone said Facebook banned in Russia, but only on desktops. LOL. I didn't hear that, but that doesn't sound like it's an effective ban. Let's see. Someone said Azov Battalion has been causing violence for years. I've heard that side of the narrative. Unfortunately, I don't live in Ukraine to really figure out what's going on there. Like, you know, I could explain what other people tell me, but it's really what other people tell me. In America, I think I have I don't think I know everything, but I've lived here. I'm seeing it unfold. I'm seeing the propaganda. I'm seeing how the sports leagues and the media and the big corporations are really collaborating to constantly lie, constantly subvert, and constantly, you know, push people that hate the Constitution so we can live in like a Chinese style slave state instead of a free country. So I see that in America. I get the dynamic. As far as Ukraine, I could tell you stuff about the battalion and all this stuff, but it would really just be gossip and rumors. And, you know, the social dynamic of Ukraine is a little complex. You know, it's more complex than just like they're all Ukrainian. It's like there are different social circles. There are different political beliefs. There are, you know, I know regions that are more Russian than they are in other regions. You know, they have like a more pro-Russia skew. Someone said, so why don't you learn some history? I don't know what you're angry about, Elizabeth. You sound emotional. You have like a Ukrainian flag with a heart in your profile picture. Let me know what are you mad at, Elaine? Is that your name, Elaine? Elizabeth. What are you mad at, Elizabeth? Let me know and I'll read your comment. Did you see like an Iron Man meme or something and it made you cry and then you put the flag in your profile picture? Now you're really invested in Iron Man 4, the Zelenskyy. How many times can Zelenskyy lie before the State Department condemns what he said? It's my favorite Iron Man. It's where he starts lying so much that even his own allies in America and NATO don't even want to help him. That's, it's a crazy plot twist because I thought they were going to start this huge war. But even NATO's like agreeing with me. They're like, nah, yeah, like, actually, you know what? We're gonna switch our profile picture. Actually, let's go back to BLM. Is it Pride Month yet, or is it just me? They're looking at their watches like, all right, let's move to the next narrative. COVID, Ukraine, Russia. I don't know what's next for them. Probably like climate change lockdowns, maybe, cyber warfare. I'm trying to think. Definitely winter. When the winter comes around, they're going to be like, oh my God, the hospitalizations are rising. We're going to pretend like winter doesn't exist. And literally everyone's going to believe it and be like, oh my God, they're right. It's winter. They're going to rise in winter. Okay. I'm making a bold prediction. I don't normally do this because I'm not acting like I'm Houdini or something. Where'd he go? Cases for COVID are almost definitely going to rise in the winter when it becomes November and December, and they're going to spike, and Democrats are going to say, oh my goodness, the cases are rising, hospitalizations are rising, let's put the mask mandates back, let's think about going back to in distance learning, let's get more restrictions, let's bring back this stuff, and everyone's going to be like, that makes sense. It's winter, okay? I don't want to scream in the mic because I'm not trying to screw with your ears. I'll go back here, all right? It's winter. The cases are probably going to rise in winter. Just like when the flu was around and it was called the flu season. Every winter, they would call it the flu season and the flu would be higher. It's not always going to be, the peak is not always going to be the same, but the trends are always the same. So with COVID, we've had 2 winters so far. The first one was the highest it's ever been. The second one was the highest it's ever been. The third one is either going to be the first highest, the second highest, or the third highest it's ever been. Because it's winter. If you guys can't figure out winter, every year you're going to go back into this state of masked zombies and not even, so maybe that's the next crisis. I don't know. Maybe Zelensky's going to, make up another fairy tale and say, oh my gosh, I just got to the center of my Tootsie Pop. They said it would only take 30 licks to get to the center, but I only licked it once and the whole thing fell off and a nuclear war starting. Please give me Bitcoins and NFTs. Please give me a no-fly zone. I'm not laughing at it. War is no joke, but I am saying it's pretty crazy. NATO doesn't want to help this guy? NATO's like, nah. They're like, sorry, bro. We're trying to. They're like, we're trying to catch the new episode of Euphoria. I'm like, what? What? It's like, why? Why is NATO watching? That's a joke, by the way. I don't want to get fact checked. Fact check. NATO didn't watch Euphoria. NATO did not confirm nor deny. It's like, dude, shut up. We get it. All right. Did she answer? I want to see if that lady answered with the Ukraine flag in. Karen said, you're hysterical. Thank you. I agree. Someone said, proud to say I never sorry for those lost. I don't know what you're saying. Did she answer? Hold on. I'm trying to find to see if that lady that's mad at me answered. No. Someone said, I think you're awesome. I agree, but I'm heavily biased in that direction, so I don't think my opinion matters. All right. I don't think she answered. Hold on. I want to find it because I think it's funny. Let's see. Someone said Costa Rica says their variant is extremely contagious. Oh yeah, here it comes. It's the turtle variant from Costa Rica. It's going to be really extreme. I think, don't quote me on this, okay? Because this is a comedy bit. I have to say that, or else they're going to try to ruin my life every week. But I think now that, the booster compliance is not as high as they wanted to, and I'm sure Pfizer and Moderna are not thrilled about that, I think we should just start, injecting it into animals. Every animal in the wild needs the Pfizer vaccine. It's not even really a joke because I think they're starting to talk like they're like the animals in the zoo needed their injection. It's whatever you got to do to make money. Although I don't really want that to happen, but it's just so old. It's like, oh my gosh, just inject it into a pumpkin or something, all the pumpkins need, genetically modified pumpkins aren't enough. The pumpkins, what they really need is, a Moderna vaccine every year. It's whatever makes Albert Bourla's bank account happy. I don't care. Someone said, I can't find your podcast on Spotify. Is it there now? Yeah, if you search Dream Rare Podcast Anomaly, AN0MALY, it should show up. It's brand new, though, so basically the first episode, you might have already seen it on YouTube. It's that one. So I'm not always going to do that, but I'm basically going to use that for any good interview I do with someone else on their live stream that you don't see. I'm going to put it on the podcast, because I get interviewed all the time. I'm going to put all those on the podcast. I'm going to interview my own people. I have dozens of people I want to interview, but here's why I'm doing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's because sometimes when I do interviews and debates and stuff, I love doing it, but I barely talk. And that's not a bad thing. I don't mind listening and playing a different role, right? I talk enough. But sometimes, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes the guests are way more like interesting, but sometimes they're boring, or it's just like I'm not talking, and it's like people are like, all right, it's your podcast, we want to hear you too. So it's like, sometimes like Joe Rogan, he'll have a guest on and the guest is talking the whole time, but he's not interesting. Where it's like, if the guest is like funny, like Tim Dillon, I don't care if he talks the whole time, or Alex Jones. But if the guest is boring and Joe doesn't, I'm like, I'd kind of rather hear Joe's opinion. So that's why I figured I would be like, all right, I'm gonna do one by myself, one with a guest, one by myself, one with a guest. Because when I have a guest on, sometimes I talk a lot, but usually I like to listen and interview them. And, I don't want to change that format. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't like to talk over people. If they want to explain something, I'm going to let them get their whole thing out. I'm not in a rush. So that's kind of the vibe. Someone said anomaly neighbors are saying, there goes the guy again yelling at his computer. Probably. It's interesting. Like, a lot of people always stop me and say like, hey, I saw, someone said the other day, like, hey, I saw your video on Instagram, or I saw your video on TikTok, or I know your videos, but like nobody ever says I hate you. So I'm wondering, like, do the people who hate me just not say anything? Or maybe I don't have that many haters. I hope I don't have that many haters, but like, the people who like me will say hi, but like, so I already know that like multiple of my neighbors like me, because they've told me. But I'm sure that there's neighbors who hate me. I mean, I am pretty loud. I like to jump around, work out, blast music. I'm a great neighbor. But I'm also safe, secure. I hold it down for the block. I don't like the riffraff. So I got the binoculars to the window looking for crime. So I think overall, I would say I'm a 9 out of 10 neighbor. I'm just another happy face, trying to lift everybody up. But you gotta give me my room to really talk loud and stuff, because this ain't no library. You feel me? All right. Someone said my haters probably don't leave the house. Well, yeah, I definitely do have some haters at NPR. They take profile pictures where their eyes are closed. They're like, I hate myself. And they got the soy boy face, like they just slurped down 17 Soylents in a row. And then they wear an N95 and they blog for, here's why freedom of speech is overrated. Here's why the First Amendment is really a racist conspiracy theory. We should give all our money and power to the government. Op-ed. Here's why the founding fathers were xenophobes. I mean, valid, but at the same time, everybody was at that point. Here's why I think that meat shouldn't exist and everybody should eat plant-based burgers so they could look like Bill Gates. It's like, ew. Even Melinda Gates is talking about Bill Gates now. She's out there being like, I didn't like his relationship with Epstein. I'm like, I'm listening, I'm like, crank it up. Did you see that? She did an interview. I'm like, oh, Melinda Gates. And she's like, I'm going to be honest. I don't like his relationship with Jeffrey. I'm like, excuse me. Can you turn the volume up over there, my guy? All right. I'm like, what was that? She's out here. She's like, I'm going to expose all. I'm like, oh, she writing a new book. She joining the bright side. Did she find the Lord Jesus Cristo? Did she take her upside down cross and flip it right side up? Did she find the Lord? It's billionaire season, baby. It's billionaire season. You see Jeff Bezos getting jacked, going to 70s parties, marrying someone who looks like she'd had, as much plastic surgery as everybody from the Real Housewives of Orange County combined, out here with sunglasses on. I mess with that. It's like Bezos, fast deliveries, you know what I'm saying? Shipping things. You get jacked, boy. Get jacked, hang out with women. You deserve it, dude. You got like so much wealth. Why not have fun? Why be like a scrawny beta male? Go get jacked. The stronger you get, the more conservative you're going to get. You're going to work out. And eventually Bezos is going to realize, oh man, these psychopaths are going to come for me eventually. I got to stop feeding into their narrative. You got Elon Musk, he looks better than he did 20 years ago. He used to be bald or something. I don't know. Maybe he did like Neuralink or something and trained his brain to grow his hair back, or I don't know. But you know, he's priming now. He's funny. You got even Zuckerberg looks a little yoked. You know what I'm saying? I saw Zuckerberg on Lex Friedman's podcast. He's like, I like surfing. You know, I'm a fun guy. You know, he's trying to rebrand. He's like, I'm fun. I'm hip. It's like, okay. And then you have Bill Gates out here looking like a sloppy Susan. You know, he looks like a mashed potato Fredo over here. And Melinda's out here saying, I don't like his relationship with Jeffrey. And I'm like, listen, I'm not one to give advice. You could say I'm not an expert, but my advice to Bill Gates, if he's listening, if he is, I'm legitimately frightened and I immediately apologize for everything I say. You know, just work out a little bit. There's not, you know, the science is settled. Getting yoked is fun. You know, the science is pretty settled. Getting jacked. I mean, look at that guy from Silicon Valley. Bezos, you know, even Zuckerberg looks a little yoked. It's your turn. You know, you're out here looking like a ice cream sundae 10 minutes in the sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Where it starts slobbing to the side. You're out here pushing plant-based burgers looking like a plant-based burger. You're not selling the product, you know? If you got yoked and then you came over and was like, hey, Anomaly, what do you think about GMO mosquitoes in Florida and Texas? You know, now I'm like, wait, you're working with a company that's releasing, this is real, by the way. You're working with a company or funding a company that's releasing GMO mosquitoes in Texas and Florida. I don't like that. But if Bill Gates was yoked and he's like, I'm doing that. And I'm like, I mean, is it going to help me get to the gym more? He's like, 50% gains. And I was like, all right, you know, I would start believing his narrative. I'm like, maybe it is a good idea to spray the sky and try to block sunlight to fight climate change. Because right now, I think it's completely insane, you know, playing God. But, you know, if Bill Gates got yoked, maybe he could convince me. The craziest thing about that story is they fact check it. They'll say, fact check, they're not blocking the sun. And then you read the article, they're like, they're not blocking the sun per se, but they are spraying chemicals to minimize the sunlight. And that's what do you think the word blocking means? I'm so tired of these idiots. Let's look it up. Blocking. What does blocking mean? The action or fact or blocking or obstructing someone or something. So if you're spraying the sky with something to obstruct sunlight, you're blocking, dummies. But they do this fact. We would never block the sun. We'd only block the sun and obstruct. It's like, dude, shut up. This is who these people are. YouTube thinks I'm done. They think, you know, people don't, and then I got to go. I want to keep this under an hour. They gave me a strike on my channel, suspended me for a week. I couldn't live stream. I couldn't post. The Ron DeSantis video is done. They thought I was done. It said, you cannot appeal this. It's over. You know, you're done. You're in timeout. There's no appeal, no one to talk to. But then I started Karening. And I woke right up. I went right on my phone right in the morning. I said, hey, YouTube, go F yourself. And I'm Karen. It's Karen. My name is Karen. First name, middle name, last name. White European woman. That is my spirit animal. And then Newsbusters covered it. All of a sudden, my strike goes away. You know, they think they're like, oh, okay, we did right by Anomaly. Oh no, I still have a warning on my channel. Warning, strike one, strike. I want the warning gone, and I'm not going to stop. I have proof that they're lying. They said it's the same thing as blocking the sun. Well, we're not blocking the sun. We are just spraying aerosols in the sky to, you know, minimize. It's blocking, obstructing, block. These are synonyms. You're idiots. It's the same thing. They said I claim that the things that you put on your face, I don't even want to say the name for their little AI algorithms. The things that you put on your face, they're claiming I said that they don't work. Like as if I just said that and just like got off live stream. I was explaining that the CNN lady, Liana Wen, the expert at CNN, said that the cloth masks, you know, were not as good as the N95s and that they were a little more than decoration, if that. So I was referencing that and they're like, well, you said masks don't wear. I'm like, you're not giving context though. But here's the thing. And I will not stop until YouTube takes that off my strap. I'm not done. You think I'm done? I just got started Karening. I just woke up. What is it, Matt? If you say blank don't work, what does don't work mean? It's such a broad, it's like saying books don't work. books don't work, laptops don't work, hats don't work. What does that mean? Does a book work? I mean, if you can't read, a book doesn't work. If the book is in Russian and I don't read Russian, the book doesn't work. You know, if I want to stop a train with a book and the train runs over, the book doesn't work to stop a train. So it's such a broad set. What does that mean? Water doesn't work. Yeah, water doesn't work to, you know, stop a drought if it's a freaking, you know, if it's just a cup of water. But if you have like a monsoon, then they don't even understand how the English language works. Like, if I say that the things on your face don't work, first of all, you're not even giving context to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cloth masks and the CNN lady admitting that. But I could say that, and it's actually an accurate statement because it doesn't work to stop a train. It doesn't. If I put it on the ground and I have a car there, a mask doesn't work to stop a car. So if you just take a small phrase of what I say and say, well, you said it didn't work. It's like, work for what? You're not, you know, work, like, yeah, it doesn't, if I put it on my mouth, it doesn't cover my eyes. It doesn't work to cover my eyes. If I wore it like underwear, you know, would it stop? I don't even want to go there, but it's like, you know, is it a good cup? Should you put it on your genitals when you're playing baseball so you don't slide into second base? Like, no, it doesn't work for that. So them saying I said it doesn't work, it's like that's technically an accurate statement because you're not even explaining what I'm talking about. This is how stupid these people are. And I'm going to let them know how stupid they are because I'm going to cut this part of the live stream out and I'm going to tag YouTube in it in like 20 minutes. I'm going to tag them in it and I'm going to send it to them every day. And I'm going to send it to Newsbusters and I'm going to Karen. You hear that? You hear that, YouTube? Hold on. Karen. Take it off my channel, YouTube. Now, I'm just getting started. I have a lot of energy. I have more energy than all your little employees who sit there because they don't have the energy of like truth and righteousness. They're not passionate. They're just sitting there playing like, you know, Stalin. They're like, maybe if I ban 15 people, I'll get a raise. Maybe if I subvert Western culture, you know, maybe Satan will give me an award one day. Maybe I'll win a Pulitzer Prize like New York Times and Washington Post did for their, you know, Russia narrative, you know, misinformation campaign. Oh, maybe. But maybe I wake up every morning and say, I want that warning off my channel. I don't want to wake up every day and think that you're going to take my channel. It's like when I log into Facebook. I got 600 million views on Facebook, 700 million views. I don't even know. I can't count that high. Over 1 billion minutes watched, literally billions of minutes watched, 1.6 million followers. And every time I log into Facebook, it says, warning, your page can be deleted at any time. It's like, leave me alone, Facebook. You know what I'm going to do? And then I really got to go. I'm going to get an interview with Mark Zuckerberg. I said it. I mean it. If Lex Friedman can get an interview, this is how the world works. If Lex Friedman can get an interview with Mark Zuckerberg, and Lex Friedman has shared my stories before on Instagram, you know, 6 degrees of separation, I'm already there. I'm basically Donald Trump sitting with Mark Zuckerberg in 2020, pretending like censorship's not coming when it's coming. I'm going to get an interview with Mark Zuckerberg. I'm going to give him a fair interview. I'm going to ask him tough questions. I'm going to let him be himself. I'm going to let him talk about the metaverse. I want to hear about it. I actually, unironically, like Mark Zuckerberg more than I like Susan Wojcicki. I think that Dorsey, Zuckerberg, they're not quite as bad as people think, but they're still not really like on your side. But at the same time, I think that if they got rid of Mark Zuckerberg and replaced Mark Zuckerberg with like a, you know, Kathy Hochul, like, you know, it's like Cuomo's gone. Now we have this, like it would only get worse. So I feel like in a weird way, although he's not like your best friend, I seriously think if they got rid of him and put some like, you know, SJW there, that's like 20 times worse, the whole company would implode. I'm going to get an interview with Mark Zuckerberg. And then afterwards, I'm going to say, hey, Mark, I got to let you know, your company has treated me like garbage. Okay. I've gotten 600 million views, 700 million views. I've added a lot to the community. I've made you a lot of money. I've made myself a decent amount. Can you guys stop threatening me every time I log into the channel? Can you stop demonetizing me before every election? Can you stop lying? I mean, I have screenshots I could show Mark. I'll be like, Mark, look at these, bro. Every fact check they've done on me is wrong. I'm not a sloppy person. Everything I say is always verified, source, mainstream. They fact check me for a CDC quote. They fact check me for a Ron DeSantis tweet quoting the CDC. They fact check me for an NBC article. Nothing they've ever fact checked me on has ever been right. It's like, oh, I messed up and I told a lie. It's like, no, literally every time it's this straw man. I say, here's literally what the CDC said. It's a cdc.gov screenshot. And Facebook says, fact check. the COVID is not the flu. I never said it was the flu, Mark. I don't run around saying this stuff because I know you censor it. So I never said it was the flu. Your stupid employees or AI algorithms looked at that and said, oh, he's saying it's, I never even said it's the flu. I just posted the CDC. And then you guys took away all my crap. I had so much momentum. I would have more. And I apologize on Facebook. I just realized now I owe you guys a live stream or two, a private live stream for my subscribers. It's hard to keep in track because I'm growing. I got thousands of subscribers. I'm killing it on Facebook. And then in the height of my career, they just take all my shit. They stop me from live streaming to my followers. I can't even message them to tell them that I can't fulfill my goal. You know, you take away my monetization when I'm killing it. You know, how can I even build on your garbage website? You know, I hope the metaverse works because Facebook's imploding on itself. I still love it because it's still, you know, very kind to me and we got a lot of people on there. But at the same time, it's like, you better hope those Oculus Rift things you bought work because your company's imploding your own site because they're kicking off all the favorite people. Boomers love Facebook and you've kicked off like 50% of my audience. Every time they're like, dude, I've shared a funny meme and they kick me off. How are you going to kick? Imagine if someone walks into your store and you just kick out 50% of people because they have a Trump hat on or something. It's like, stop, bro. Yeah, I'm going to say all that to Mark. So let's put it in the cards. Before I end, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. Dream Rare podcast coming out. You know, dreamrare.com. I got the hats, these in pink, but they're different. Instead of the strap back, it's going to be, well, I'm sorry. Instead of the Velcro, it's going to be the strap back. The strap back is honestly nicer. The Velcro is easier. The strap back is slicker, but at the same time, you know, I think it's easy to use, but I like them both for different reasons. This one's a little bigger. That one's a little smaller. If you like a little golf hat, that one, you like this one, you get it. But, you know, I just want to let YouTube know I have just started Karening. It's not over. I won. Okay. You put the strike on my channel. You said it wasn't reversed. I won. I'm going to win again. And when it comes to Facebook, I know the employees there are always treating me like garbage. I'm going right to the top. That's what Karens do, okay? They don't say, oh, how do I complain? I give you a support message and you don't give me a message back in 3 weeks. Oh, I'm going to the top of that pyramid, okay? I'm going right to Mark Zuckerberg, okay? I'm working. I'm going to get an interview. I don't know that I can do this, but I'm putting it in the universe right now. And yeah, and then Mark's going to text you guys and say, hey, stop it. You know, stop that. And you're going to feel ashamed. And then you're going to watch what you do on my channel because you're like, oh, we shouldn't. This guy's got 1.6 million, you know? And it sucks it has to be this way because I'm not like a power freak, but it's like I need power just to keep these psychopaths away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I didn't have so many followers on Twitter, if I didn't have so many great people in this world that like me and did it for the right reason, like I didn't pay news busters to support me. I knew who they were, but I didn't even know they knew who I was. It's just people like me because I'm not a liar. I do good work and I'm honest about it. So these people come to my defense. If I didn't have that type of following and these many people that supported me, I would probably be banned completely on YouTube. So, you know, I don't even want power for like, oh, I need to run the world. It's like, I want these psychopaths to leave me alone. And if that's what it takes, then we are going to start an army of Karens to peacefully and legally Karen all over the place. So Jordan Peele can cry, oh my God, there's too many Karens. Well, there's more coming, Jordan Peele. Maybe you need to make another movie, Get Out 5, you know, the return of the Karens, because we're working, okay? And the ultimate Karen move would be to talk to Mark Zuckerberg and have him look down at the employees and then, you know, this like lady that has like, you know, that blogs and it's like, oh no, he caught us leave me alone. Thank you guys for listening. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I went over my time limit like I always do. And once again, I just want to let y'all know pink God bless hats are on dreamrare.com. And here's my goal real quick before I leave for my podcast. So there's people that are willing to sponsor this and that. I'm thinking about it, but my goal would be and it's not, I don't want people to go to my Patreon yet. You can, but I gotta change the things. I want to try to self-fund it. So if I could sell enough hats, I actually have more products. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I've been working for a year on a certain product that's not clothing that it's taken a long time. This stuff is so annoying. But when it comes out, I'm going to try to self-fund the whole podcast by myself on dreamrare.com. So no worries. But like once it's out, if I could raise enough money on Patreon and my website, then I'll never take a sponsor because I don't need like $1 trillion. So you know, that's kind of my goal. We might get sponsors eventually because that definitely helps, you know, keep the podcast on. But my goal is to create my own company, create my own stuff, and just really self-fund it so I don't even have to talk to people. That's my ideal. Hey, Anomaly, we want to sell our, I don't even want to talk to people anymore. I just want to do my thing. So that's the goal for now. Thank you to everybody supporting, but eventually, we'll see what happens. But I got a lot of building, a lot of stuff to do today. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you like this video. And yeah, it's pretty funny that NATO and even the State Department is starting to be like, yeah, nah, you got to chill out a little bit, bro. All right. Have a good day, guys. Have a great weekend and enjoy yourself. Get some fresh air, get some exercise. And the best way to rebel against the wicked people running society, work out, take care of yourself. Have a good day. Smile. Enjoy your current situation. That's the real W. Don't get angry, upset with them. Unless it's YouTube censoring me, then I freak out for like an hour. And then I'm like, okay, I got to calm down now. So have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself.